Hi, I'm Paul Jarzembowski, and I've been asked by the bishops of the United States to help lead Pilgrim groups to Krakow in 2016. I'm here today to share with you a little bit about the Pilgrim Journal. The Pilgrim Journal is a great tool for all pilgrims who are on this journey of faith. It's basically distributed by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops as a way to help every pilgrim mark their steps. We realize that there's many practical things that go on in preparing for a trip like World Youth Day, but the spiritual preparation is the most important part. And so to guide every pilgrim in that, we have the Pilgrim Journal. So let me tell you a little bit about what's in here so you know how to use it. First, it's a great way to prepare for World Youth Day, to get ready for the trip. There's a lot of stuff in the journal that will be helpful for those preparation stages. It's also something that you can take with you when you are actually on the journey itself, while you're in Krakow. So take it with you. Pack it in your backpack with a pen and use it and open it up and use it throughout the journey. It's a great way, it's a great thing to have with you as you're at catechesis, when you're at the papal events, when you're meeting new people, on the plane, on the train, in the buses, wherever you're at. This is a great guide to keep with you, to kind of keep track. And it's small, it fits in your backpack or in your suitcase, so you can take it with you wherever you go in Krakow, in Europe. And then you're also encouraged to keep using it after you return home. Because when you get back home, immediately after returning from Krakow, there can be this temptation to say, okay, I'm done, put it on the bookshelf and be done with it. But there's stuff in here that will continue to help you in the months following the World Youth Day experience. So keep using it. You can write in it alone for yourself, for your own personal reflection, or it can serve as a basis for great dialogue and conversation with your fellow pilgrims, whether you're in a group, with a few friends, with a larger contingency while you're there in Krakow, or perhaps in the preparation on a retreat, or in the days following to help keep you accountable for all the things that you promised to do when you were there. So you can use it however it fits best for your experience. And finally, save it as a timeless keepsake of this particular 2016 World Youth Day pilgrimage. Come back to it, perhaps in a year, 2 years, and see where you've grown from the time that you wrote in this journal. It's a timeless way to remember this experience and what it has meant to you. So let's dive right into it and see what's in there. So the first part of the journal is called Setting Out. Now, in this area, we just really explain what is pilgrimage, so you have a sense of, what is it as opposed to a vacation. You have the connection. One of the images that we use throughout this journal, and the reason you'll see it's very much designed almost like a mountain climber's journal, because in a way we compare the experience of the World Youth Day pilgrimage with that of a mountaintop experience. There's the trip up, there's the experience atop the summit, and then there's the journey down. And so talking a little bit about that, and to get you prepared for that image, we have a point here to do some Lectio Divina, some prayers on the Transfiguration story itself from the Scriptures. And then we kind of unpack it through the lens of two mountain climbing saints and two patrons of World Youth Day, Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati and St. John Paul II, two men of the mountains. And we talk about how this experience of World Youth Day is literally going to the heights, as Pier Giorgio would say, and going out into the deep, as John Paul would tell us. So that's the first part, and just kind of preparing ourselves for the journey. And then part two, we start to get into what does it mean to plan for the experience. So this is the part that you would fill out prior to leaving for Krakow. Just like a mountain climber, you would pull out your maps, you would make reservations, set an agenda, pack your supplies, figure out what trails you're walking on. That would be a mountain climber's journey. And so the same thing goes with the spiritual journey of World Youth Day. Like them, you too would have to map out where you want to go, where you've been, where you're going, You want to make reservations, thoughts to yourself, where am I going in this trip? What is it that I want to make sure I do before I leave Krakow, and what I want to make sure I do going forward? So how do we make spiritual reservations? We're going to talk a little bit about the agenda, about what you should look for at different parts of the World Youth Day week. And then what spiritual supplies do you need to pack? Sure, there are things such as clothes, such as good shoes that you need to physically pack, but what supplies do you need to pack there? And then trails. You know, when you look at a hiker's trail, they try and figure out what's the best route to get there. Same thing spiritually. What is the best route to make it to where you want to be in your particular plan? A hiker will also climb to their ability. For instance, if they have certain limitations, they can only climb so much. If they only have so much experience climbing, they may not be able to scale the boulders. But when you go on that kind of experience, it also pushes you a little further. And that happens spiritually too. So we outline in the journal ways to consider how to stretch yourself, how to climb to an ability you may not have known you had on a spiritual sense. And then finally, how do you keep good company? Because one of the things that sets this World Youth Day is we don't make this journey alone. In centuries past, people would make pilgrimages by themselves. But in the modern world, thanks to John Paul II, the World Youth Day experience says we make this pilgrimage in good company. We have companions along the way. And so it gives us a chance to reflect on who is it that's traveling with us in our groups, perhaps people from our dioceses, our parishes, our campuses, people from places we might know from locally in our state or our country. And then what type of people are we looking to meet from all over the world? So this journal helps you kind of outline that and explore a little bit about how you keep good company on the way. And speaking of good company, that leads right into the third and really the central aspect of this Pilgrim journal, the pilgrimage with the saints. Now, we talked about keeping company. So one of the best types of company you can keep is with the saints of the church. And so along each of the steps of the way leading up, at, and following World Youth Day, we have given different holy men and women throughout the ages who have been a guide to us and who can help inspire us as we write through and figure out what we're doing. Speaking of which, the first part is ascending the mountain. So there's some entries where you can talk about how you're preparing, with specifically what you're looking forward to. There's going to be some scripture verses as to what to reflect on, looking as you ascend in the weeks and months preceding World Youth Day. And then, just like the mountaineer, there is the time when you get to the summit. And that summit, for those of us traveling to Krakow, is the 7 days of World Youth Day. So Monday through Sunday, each of the days, there's a section where you can write and journal about what you're feeling each day, what you've experienced, where you've seen Christ on the mountaintop that day, what encounters you may have had. All that is different aspects of encountering Christ at the summit. And then there's a short section right after that, which we invite you to fill out, perhaps on your way back from the final Mass, perhaps on the train ride back, the plane ride, or immediately right when you get home, so that it's fresh in your mind. So some reflections immediately following World Youth Day so you don't forget it. And then we have a section month by month in the 5 months that follow World Youth Day: August, September, October, November, December. Where are you descending from the mountain? And so you don't leave this journal in Krakow, but you continue to think about how it's impacting you in the weeks and months following. So all of that is in the journal. So you really don't stop using the journal until it comes to till next Christmas. And so to help you in this experience, we've given you a couple of helpful resources in the appendix here. We've got some Polish phrases that will be helpful when you're in Krakow, some reflection and some information about the World Youth Day images, that image you see of the cross in the country of Poland, the World Youth Day USA image, and the prayers and the song, so you can sing along with it in English. And then because this is focused on the Jubilee of Mercy, because that's when this World Youth Day pilgrimage is taking place, we have some simple guides to the Sacrament of Mercy, reconciliation, a guide to the Chaplet of Divine Mercy, and a guide to the 7 spiritual and 7 corporal works of mercy, so that as you prepare and as you unpack the World Youth Day experience, you have some real easy ways to figure out what to do if you're put in the situation of praying the prayer of divine mercy. If you find yourself in the sacrament of reconciliation, you know what to do. This guidebook has some helpful tips of how to do that. And finally, we close this journal as we began, through the inspiration of one of the patron saints of this World Youth Day, Pier Giorgio Frassati. Pier Giorgio is a patron for young adults. He is a man of the Beatitudes, a man of mercy, a man of compassion, a man of faith. And so your pilgrim guide throughout this whole pilgrim journey is Blessed Pier Giorgio. And so we close with some inspiring words for him that you can continue to come back to throughout your preparation, throughout the week, and throughout the months following World Youth Day. So we invite you, of course, to continue to use this pilgrim journey to prepare, to experience, and to follow up. Leaders, pilgrims, young and old alike, stateside and international bound, even bishops can use it, because we're all on a journey together. And we all follow Christ, who we will meet at the mountaintop, but who also joins us on the way up and on the way down. I look forward to seeing you there. God bless, and have a wonderful pilgrimage.